Hello and welcome again to another episode of Battle Ready.
Ready.
And today, we thought we'd talk about the narrative of Age of Sigmar. Now, not just the narrative on the tabletop. I think you get a little bit of a story every time you play the game, which is one of the cool parts of the game, right? But what about the sort of the overarching narrative? Maybe we're a little bit spoiled because we started playing. It was Age of Sigmar was sort of our COVID hobby.
Yeah, we started towards the end of the Necroquake.
Yes, we started towards the end of 2.0. So we started in 2020, like September, October-ish of 2020.
Yeah, around there.
And then, so we were just understanding what was going on, just getting into the lore, and then bam, Broken Realms hit.
Mm-hmm.
In Broken Realms, you have Marathi becoming a god, taking over Anvilgard. Be'lakor shows up. Grungi shows up again. Yeah, that's the other one.
That's from...
But Grungi shows up. The
Cursed Skies
happens, and then Kragnos takes on Excelsis with Gordrak. I mean, it was a whole big thing. It was really, really cool to see. Cruel Boys come in, but it was really, really cool to see the narrative push forward. And in the end, the Necroquake subsides, and Alariel's Lifequake is what actually triggers Kragnos' freedom, I guess. But since then, since then, nothing's happened. And I get it. I feel like, big realm-changing events like Broken Realms and things like that, maybe those are the things you do on a lead up to a new edition, right? So maybe you're not going to get books like that all the time. Fine. But I do feel like the story's been pretty stagnant over the last year and a half, coming on to 2 years now. It's been a little bit stagnant. The story hasn't really moved. You've got all these cool pieces. Kragnos is still out there doing something.
Oh, the Dreadspine fortresses got destroyed. That's something that happened.
Okay. So right now, where's the lore right now?
We're beating each other up in Gallet.
True. So, but I meant, like, where do you learn the lore?
You learn the lore in the battle tomes.
That's, I think, the big failing, is the battle tomes, for two reasons. One, nobody's going to buy every battle tome, right? So you're just not going to know the full story. And two, battle tomes are really pretty focused on how the units work and how the armies maneuver. I feel like what the battle tomes do, there's a whole section on every unit in your army.
Yeah.
And so the battle tomes are like giving you background so that when you play the game, you have something for all your units, right? You know what your Twin Souls do, or your Rotflies, or your Vindictors, or your Gluttons, right? You have that idea. But it doesn't give a little bit, but not a whole lot of information on moving and shaking and what's happening. And even when they do give it, it's almost all related to the particular tome, right? So if they wanted to tell a cool story about how the Bone Reapers did a thing, you'd have to buy that battle tome, right? You wouldn't hear a whisper of it in any other tome.
Unless it was the Bone Reapers doing something against that battle tome. Like the Bone Reapers did something against Stormcast.
Maybe, but maybe they did do something against the Stormcast, but whose battle tome came out very first? Stormcast. So we're not going to hear about that in this edition then, right? So I think that's a problem. Now, you might say, well, that's what Black Library is for, right? There's all kinds of novels and stuff. And I think Black Library books are cool, for the most part. I've really, really enjoyed a lot of them. I like the Drecky Flint one, Arcanauts Oath. I liked the Thunderstrike and Other Stories. It was sort of a compilation of short stories that came out at the beginning of 3.0.
I've only read a couple of these.
Yeah, you've read a few, but you liked them, right? So they've all been pretty good.
The Iron Dragon one?
Iron Dragon is good. So they've all been pretty good, but, I don't know.
The only thing we've seen is the Thondia thingy.
The Thondia thingy.
No, just Seasons of War Thondia.
Seasons of War Thondia, that's true, because there is some lore about how Indrasta and her band, along with some orcs and some beasts of chaos find the first incarnate.
Mm-hmm.
So that is true. There is some of that.
Yes.
Yeah, there is some of that.
But that's the most recent stuff that everyone might be interested in.
Yes, and it's also very much about the incarnate. So we're not learning about like how people are doing things, or how are the Dawnbringers Crusades going? Mm-hmm. Are they succeeding or not? How are the chaos, the ruinous powers fighting with each other? Is Slaanesh any closer to getting out? You know, because in Broken Realms, Sinessa and Dexessa, right? He throws, or she throws pieces of herself out, and they become the twins. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know. I don't know what's happened since. It's like, what is going on?
Is it a boy or a girl, Slaanesh?
Both.
And neither.
And neither, yeah.
All right, let's give them let's give it new pronouns.
You just say they. Them. Yeah, they and them. So, yeah, I think what I would like to see is way more frequent lore updates. Now, I don't think you always need to have a big Broken Realm style thing.
Yeah.
I don't think every lore update needs to be about the gods, Teclis doing whatever, and Nagash doing whatever. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have a little bit of that. Maybe you don't. But I feel like there needs to be short stories every so often, like maybe one a month or so.
That's a lot.
Here's an Auric who is out in Thondia dealing with monsters. Oh, here's a Dawnbringer Crusade that gets taken over by Nurgle. Oh, here is a Tzeentchian person whose plans are foiled by the Night Haunt. Oh, here's a...
You have so many ideas.
There's a million ideas, but it's like, show us what's happening in the world, and each one should, more than just being a self-contained story, each one should sort of really say, you know, at the end of the Tzeentch and the Night Haunt, maybe the Night Haunt defeat the Tzeentchians, but the Tzeentch people, find a new vault or something. And so it's like, well,
like a new storm vault?
Maybe. But it's like the story isn't going to be about that. Maybe, but that's like maybe a little seed, maybe a little thread for...
What might be, like a teaser.
Maybe the Tzeentchians find a new vault. Mm-hmm. And then we learn later that vault held, ancient Kroxigor DNA. And that's why we're getting new Kroxigor models, right? Or maybe we learn that, it's just a thread out there. And then when the new Broken Realms picks up,
or whatever
it picks that up and says, all right, here's what that was, and here's the gods fighting over it or whatever. So it's like, it should be like, each one should be a little story, but each story should just like talk about what's happening in the world. What's going on, even if it isn't Marathian and Sigmar, right?
And what's going on somewhere other than Gur.
Yeah, or even
what's happening in the other mortal realms.
It would be nice to know what's happening in the other mortal realms. But even if they wanted to focus on Gur, because all we know from Gur right now is Kragnos is running around out there.
Blowing things up.
Ogre Maw tribes are... But everyone else is just sort of doing their thing, right? The Maw tribes are doing their Maw paths. The Dawnbringer Crusades are doing their Dawnbringing.
And getting destroyed.
And mostly getting destroyed. Orcs are out there fighting people, and Cruel Boys are trapping people. And it's just like... What's going on, though? What's happening? What do all the world of Gur... What are they worried about? What are they knowing about? What's happening? What's moving and shaking?
Kragnos.
Well, maybe. I don't know. We haven't heard from him in like a year and a half. Who knows what he's doing? It's so funny because he's in the middle of Excelsis destroying everything.
And then he gets roped away.
Teleports him away.
Croak and
Marathi teleport him away. And then I guess Kragnos is cool with it.
No, Kragnos destroys the Dreadspire Fortress.
Yeah, but why doesn't he go back to Excelsis? Why doesn't he go back and kill some stuff? He gets teleported away and he's like, all right, whatever.
Time to smash
I'll hit these things.
But I don't think he knows where he is.
I don't know. He could ask some people. He could ask for directions.
But no one understands him.
Gobsprak understands him.
But how does he know where Gobsprak is? There's a flaw.
Anyway, I would like to see a little bit more of what's going on there. But how would they get us that lore? What do you think?
I just don't know how they'd be able to do that.
Well, I think there's a couple of ways. So the free one that they would never choose is just put it out with Warhammer Community, right? Maybe you have a story every month, one that's per month, And every week on Wednesday, you put out a quarter of the story, right? So over 4 weeks, you get the full story, right? You just put out, a page each Wednesday, and then over 4 weeks, you got a story, right? Nice and free, keeps people interested, keeps people that are like the lore to keep consuming, right? I think it would be great I think it'd be great advertising.
Advertisement.
If they wanted to not do that, I would. They could put it in the White Dwarfs, right? A White Dwarf every month. Every month there could be, and now there are fictions in White Dwarf,
like the Grudge Settler.
No, that's a Battle Plans. But I mean, there's like stories, short stories in White Dwarf. But I would take it, and instead of it being little vignettes, make it more lore focused. Just, drop seeds in that story. Mention things that are going to be important 6 months from now, a year from now, when the new edition drops, whatever. Drop those seeds, and so then that would give you yet another reason to buy the White Dwarf, so that you can look through it and be like, oh yeah, what do you think this symbol means? Oh, what do you think it means that the Slanesh people are having a big revival? Does that mean Slanesh is coming, or is it only because they're actually being manipulated by Zinch and they're going to have a terrible downfall? You could have all these discussions and enjoy the lore.
Or the Godseekers get kicked out by the Pretenders.
Yeah, you can have all kinds of stuff, and sort of show where the factions are, right? Or at least some of them. I think it'd be hard to do. I have all 25 factions, right? But if you did like 2 or 3 in each story, then over the course of a year, you could do most of the factions. Most of the factions can have something, and then over the course of 3 years, in an edition, most factions would be in there 2 or 3 times. I think that's very cool. And then you'd be selling more White Dwarfs, which, frankly, I mean, White Dwarfs are cool, and no offense if you love them, but unless there's something in there for a game I like it's got new Warcry cards, or it's got some kind of AoS, Tome Celestials, or whatever like that, I don't know. White Dwarfs they're not really my thing. There's too much content for stuff I don't play that I feel like, instead of buying a 200-page magazine, I'm buying like a 20-page magazine, and then it feels overpriced. But if they had more of that stuff in there, more content that I could like, it would be a little bit more attractive. What do you think? How else?
One thing I would like to see, like this isn't how they could do it, but I was thinking like one thing I would like to see is I would like to see more named characters get killed.
I think that's such a good idea. I think that a lot of times they have problems with killing off the named characters. And maybe it's because they don't want people to feel like they can't use their models.
Yeah.
First of all, that's silly, because you can always use your models.
Yeah, you could just say it's a shadow of Kragnos.
Yeah, maybe
this is before he died.
Maybe it's before he died, or maybe a wizard has brought him back to life in some way, or maybe it's a shadow of the former self, but he's, obviously has the same rules. You could come up with your lore about why your guy is still out there. But I think it would be really great. And plus, Warhammer is a little bit like comic books. Nobody stays dead.
No.
Right? Nagash got completely defeated.
And he came back.
And it's just like, okay, well, he'll be back.
In a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Basically. Archon the Black gets basically killed in Broken Realms. Yeah. Spoiler alert, sorry. He gets basically killed in Broken Realms.
Okay.
But he's still got a model. You can still play him. And if he comes back.
Archon's still alive?
No, he's dead, I said.
Oh.
Remember I said he got
basically.
Killed? Yeah, what I'm saying is he's an undead guy, right?
Yeah.
So they could make up any kind of thing. I mean, he was in the world that was, and Nagash sort of summoned him back.
Yeah.
Nagash could do some ritual and bring him back,
so
right?
So Nagash could basically say, come back to me, my servant.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you could do the same thing with anything, right? Maybe the Celestant Prime is finally defeated in a way where he can't be reforged.
Oh, dang.
And then, so that's a big thing, and it shakes up the balance of power or whatever.
And then then they're trying to find the relic hammer again.
Right. And then in the next edition, just like they found a fix for the Cursed Skies, they find a fix for that, and boom, Celestant Prime's back again. Right? So no death is permanent, but it would have real consequences if there were deaths that at least had some kind of impact on the story.
I mean, the entire Sigmarite Brotherhood died in Broken Realms.
Yeah, but they'll all get reforged.
No, none of them got reforged. The Crystal guys killed them.
Oh, yes, those guys. That is true. That is true. But none of them are named characters.
No, one of them was named.
I don't think so. I don't think we have any named ones from the.
Yeah, but that's
that are in the game.
Yeah, but that was an entire chamber.
Yeah,
that's not good.
So I think that I think I'm absolutely with you. I think they should be less scared of killing main named characters because you can always bring them back, and it doesn't really have an impact on the tabletop. In fact,
and you could technically just kill Molag. That's one for an example, because he's not a AoS model. He wasn't meant for AoS.
Whether you kill whoever you kill, if you kill Archaon, right? You can always bring him back, and in fact, it would be cool to see the Slaves of Darkness where Be'lakor is ascendant, and so now maybe they have a little bit different rules that are more Be'lakor based, and then you have the Archaon faction who is still comparably powerful on the table for the game's sake, but their lore is a little bit different.
Like Be'lakor goes, but there's still an Archaon sub faction that they're trying to get back on Be'lakor.
Exactly, and you make their rules good still, right? So people can play them, but their lore is now, they're like a traitor faction within the traitor faction of not Chaos Space Marines, of Slaves of Darkness.
The traitor faction.
Yeah, exactly. So I completely agree. The other place and the last place that I think that they might consider dropping out some lore stuff is what if they made it part of Warhammer Plus? Right? They've got this subscription service, which is it's okay. Like the stuff that they do put out, the animations in particular, are really fun.
Oh yeah.
I think the animations are all cool. I like them all. Even though they're much more 40K based. There's only been one AoS.
No, two.
Two?
The one with the Dawnbringers.
With the Dawnbringers?
Yeah, Monster. It's number 11.
Oh, yes, with the Dark Oath guys.
Yes.
So, okay, so there have been two.
And there was 9.
But I still like them. Even the 40K ones, I still like them. I think that's fun. But the rest of the content, the battle reports are okay. The lore master stuff is okay. The masterclass is good, although if they want me, their recommendations are way higher level than I'm willing to paint. So I like to watch them for fun to see what good people can do, but the applicability isn't high. And then you got the Warhammer Plus, the Warhammer Vault, which has some old White Dwarfs and stuff.
I've never seen it.
It's fine.
I like the Lore Masters.
Overall, I think it's fine, but if they were looking to pad that out a little bit, make it a little bit more worthwhile, and stop me from thinking about canceling.
No.
Every time they miss another.
No.
Yeah, every time they don't put out an animation when they're supposed to, or when the animation they put out is just, hey, remember those animations we did before? Here they all are in one playlist. Well, that's the same thing. It's not a new animation. But they could put something in there to say, all right, in our weekly Warhammer drop on Wednesdays, we're going to drop little lore bits. Whether that's a story in the Warhammer Vault, or whether it's a lore master like guy saying, hey, here's what's going on with these people. Every week we're going to update you on a faction or two, and here's their machinations, and here's what they're attempting to do, and here's how they've been foiled, or here's how they've been successful. That would be cool. I would like it in more of a narrative format, but even if they were just dropping it out, so that what's going on in the world, would be better than the nothing we're getting right now. So anyway, I think the last year and a half has been pretty stagnant, which is a shame because there's so much they could be doing. And I think the lore nerds like me would just absolutely love it. What do you think? Yeah, would you like to see more lore? And it doesn't need to be groundbreaking. It doesn't need to be Broken Realm stuff until maybe they're gearing up for the next edition. Maybe as they're coming up with battle tomes, right? That would be a great opportunity to do that. But the nothing where we had all this big stuff happen and then everything sort of went back to normal.
Yeah.
It really makes the big stuff feel like it wasn't that big. Right? Kragnos, oh, it's sort of back to normal. Grungy, oh, it's sort of back to normal. Oh, Cursed Skies, oh, it's sort of back to normal. It's how much of it really mattered? I guess Marathi becoming a god is sort of the only thing that mattered.
Kragnos mattered. We got a model.
No, I mean, we got models and Croak became a model, but I mean, story-wise, what really changed? I think just Marathi becoming a god. I think that's the only thing that really changed. All right, well, final thoughts? No final thoughts on this
No.
one?
This one basically went right over my head.
You need more lore. You gotta get more into the lore. All right, cool. Well, this has been another episode of Battle Ready. Thanks so much for watching.